Making overnight a dramatic rescue in Sumner County. Just look at these pictures from the Westmoreland Fire Department, which was called in overnight to rescue a man trapped down a ravine in Bethpage. Now, crews were able to use a basic rope pulley system to pull that guy out of a crevice there, and he was taken away on a stretcher. It's still not clear how he ended up down in that ravine. Happening today, Nashville's new mayor will announce plans about the future of Greer Stadium and Fort Negley Park.
News Channel 5's Dan Kennedy is live from that area this morning with more. And Dan, I know there's been a lot of talk and a lot of concern about what's going to happen here. Do we know what the announcement is today?
You know, we got a hint last night from a board member of the Friends of Fort Negley group who says that the mayor is going to announce plans to demolish and deconstruct the old Greer Stadium. Anybody out there remember going to see a Nashville Sounds game here, or maybe a concert or something? Look at the difference several years makes. It's it's dilapidated now, out of shape. Seats are missing. Weeds are growing on the field. And it's been talked about for years, so what are you going to do with this space? And by the way, it sits on the old historic Fort Negley grounds, which people have wanted to preserve. And now it appears, according to this Facebook post made by that board member last night, that the mayor, David Briley, is planning to announce plans to demolish and deconstruct this stadium, and also announce plans that the city is working on how to properly honor this location's history. There's been a whole lot of debate about what to do with this land. It's about a mile south of downtown, so great location. And in fact, earlier this year, developers had their eyes set on this until it was announced by historians that about 800 slaves died here while working during the Civil War. So now there's Civil War era graves here. And at that point, the developer pulled their plans to redevelop areas here around Fort Negley. Supporters of this land have long said it should be preserved as part of Nashville's history. And now it appears that's exactly what's going to happen with that 10 o'clock announcement this morning in a news conference with the mayor. Reporting live at Greer Stadium, Dan Kennedy, News Channel 5.
Thank you, Dan. And happening now, another winter blast is hitting the Northeast. This is new video coming in from Plymouth, Massachusetts. Now that the sun has come up, you can see just how much snow is falling and how rough those conditions are on the water. This winter storm rather, is causing some problems for travelers big time. If you're heading to the Northeast, you're going to want to check with your airline. Right now, there are 10 canceled flights from BNA here in Nashville. And following an exclusive News Channel 5 investigation, the man in charge of maintenance for Metro schools is on administrative leave because of a district investigation. It's prompted by a secret recording that shows him plotting to bypass filters designed to protect children from lead in their drinking water. So here's a listen.
I did ask Troy if he would have one of his guys go through the exercise of bypassing the filter just to see how that works.
The recording captures this man, Dennis Neal, giving the instructions to his team. After tests showed high lead levels in some Metro schools, the district installed these hydration stations that filter out lead. In some cases, parents paid for those fountains themselves. But on the recording, Neal expresses concern about the cost of replacing those filters.
And then we got to figure out what we're going to do with these 100 that we have, or 97 filtered ones that we have out there.
Bust the light out.
Huh? Do what?
Take the light bulb out.
Well, that's one thing is take, but we need to also probably, if we can, bypass the filter.
And you can listen to the entire recording and see Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams' full investigation on NewsChannel5.com.
It was an Amber Alert that gripped the mid-state this past weekend. So why did it take a full 30 minutes to send out alerts to your cell phone? The Amber Alert was originally issued just after 12:30 Sunday morning for 3 kids that police said were taken by Keith Tansel. But the emergency text alert wasn't sent out to phones until after 1 a.m. The TBI issues the alert, but says getting the message to different agencies is pretty time-consuming. For the text to go out to our phones, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has to get involved.
That's oftentimes the biggest misconception about the Amber Alert, is that there's just a big red button that someone hits here at TBI headquarters, and that's simply not the fact.
The TBI says one of his first priorities during an Amber Alert is to get an alert out on social media. By the way, police are still looking for Tansel. Take a look at this picture right here in connection with that Amber Alert. He was spotted in Wilson County yesterday morning when he hit a Lebanon police officer's car during a chase. An exhaustive search along the Tennessee River continues for a missing Nashville firefighter Jesse Reed. We've learned officials believe his disappearance may have been no accident after all. Last week, Reed's wife, Ellen, told investigators she was in the car with Reed when they ended up going in the river there in Humphreys County. But now officials say there was a gap in the time from when the incident happened to the time she actually called 911. NewsChannel 5 has learned that although no charges have been filed, investigators are looking into whether she played a role in his disappearance. The couple's lake house in Waverly and their home is in Pegram, and they have been searched by authorities.
And could there have been clues leading up to the Marshall County, Kentucky high school shooting? Newly released police documents reveal suspected shooter Gabe Parker may have dropped a hint about the January rampage.
And I don't mean this cruel, but it's hard to breathe the same air as him.
Family members of victims were at the courtroom for the now 16-year-old's hearing. Parker is accused of killing 15-year-olds Bailey Holt and Preston Copen, injuring more than a dozen others. Court documents show a screenshot of Parker's Instagram where he posted, "Sorry for the kids that I may hurt in 42. The date of the shooting, 1/23/18, adds up to the number 42. A judge will decide in 3 weeks whether Parker's case will be moved back to juvenile court.
New this morning, police in Columbia need your help tracking down some burglars. They posted this surveillance video yesterday. Take a look. The two guys forced their way into Holland's Pharmacy on Hatcher Lane yesterday morning just before 3. Police say they took several bottles of pills and then they took off. If they look familiar, you should call Columbia Police.
Happening today, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office is helping people learn what to do in an active shooter situation. The workshop's going to be held today from 9 to 11 at the Pinnacle Family Entertainment Center off Warfield Boulevard. The course will provide strategies, guidance, and a plan for surviving an active shooter event. And new this morning, 2 Wilson County deputies are getting a big thank you for keeping a man they thought was dangerous off the street.
Yeah, big thank you to them. Deputies Hunter Warren and Garrett Cato, who you see in this picture, were recognized yesterday by the sheriff. They were given an appreciation award. Back in August, they stopped a man who was posing as a deputy and trying to get a felon released from the county jail. The sheriff called their service to the community exceptional.